Welcome back to Movies TV Mad, and welcome to Monday's edition of the Movies TV Mad Daily. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Oh boy, have I got a show for you today. We are talking about the box office projections of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. We're talking about Doctor Who Series 13. We have got some Flash movie updates for you as well. We're talking Dexter Season 9, and we're talking Legends of Tomorrow as well, and the John Constantine controversy. So let's go. So yesterday, the projections were released by Warner Brothers for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. They are saying they are projecting 35 million to 60 million opening weekend. So the propaganda started. One of the things some of the Snyder acolytes have been saying is if James Gunn's The Suicide Squad doesn't make anywhere near or more than David Ayer's Suicide Squad, then it will be deemed as a flop. You are wrong, and you know it. I'm not going to use any excuses. I'm not using COVID. I'm not using the fact that it's going to be on HBO Max as well. Let me explain to you why David Ayer's Suicide Squad was such a huge hit in terms of the box office. The Joker. The Joker uplifts every movie's box office that he's involved with. The Joker in Batman 89. Without him, that film doesn't make as much box office. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker movie made over $1 billion. As I say, when you involve the Joker, you uplift your box office. Imagine the Joker being in Birds of Prey and the emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Imagine this. In the Birds of Prey movie, the Joker and Harley have still split up, but they're having a turf war in Gotham. And in the middle of this story is the Birds of Prey, who are the actual heroes of this story, who have to stop them and protect people from being collateral damage in this war. What an amazing story. Boom, you uplift your box office. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, you have the Joker in it, you uplift that box office. But make no mistake, no matter how much this film makes or doesn't make, the Snyder acolytes will tell you it is a flop. Like they keep on telling you Shazam was a flop. Shazam wasn't a flop. It made twice, 3 times its budget. Made a lot of money. Families and children loved it. You may have seen a live stream where my nephew had a big opinion, a strong opinion about the new Shazam suit because he loves Shazam. He doesn't like the new costume. He will get used to it. I will promise you about that. Listen, whatever happens, James Gunn will return. We will see Peacemaker Season 1. We'll probably see a Series 2. We will see more Suicide Squad movies and Suicide Squad character offshoots. Harley rumoured to be one of them. So, whatever happens to this film in terms of the box office, James Gunn will be back. Warner Brothers are not going to be affected by the box office of this movie, but the box office of this movie will be very, very solid. And as I say, there's a reason why David Ayer's Suicide Squad did so well in the box office. Now, a lot of people deemed it was Harley Quinn, but obviously Birds of Prey proves that Harley Quinn isn't enough to make a poor, watered-down movie with aggressive, toxic identity politics messaging a good movie. But if the Joker was in that movie, they could have still had the same kind of narrative in it, but it would have been a lot more fun for people to see. So as I say, the Joker always uplifts whatever you're doing, whether it's bad or good. The Gotham TV series, when the young man playing the Joker was in that, Fox's ratings went sky high. And so the projection of 35 to 60 million for the opening weekend is really, really solid. It's really, really good. I don't know what you were all expecting here. So they're happy with it to make around that money. And don't forget, at the end of this week, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad will be released in the UK. So we'll have some box office records for that as well, which will be interesting. So that's despite what they're projecting for the US. So I predict that this film will do really, really well. 35 to 60 million is a brilliant opening weekend. Listen, when you look, if people want to go back and rewatch a film, even with COVID, they will. If James Gunn's The Suicide Squad has rewatchability, and I'm telling you, seeing I've seen a 90-minute test screening, it has, you will go back and watch this again and again. Stay to the end. Awesome post-credit scene as well. So, this movie will do well in the box office. It may not have the money in the final global box office of 800 million, like David Ayer's Suicide Squad movie did, but that makes no difference. But it doesn't matter. Whatever we say, whatever we do, the Snyder acolytes will call it a flop. And it's best just to ignore them. This is a great movie. It's going to make the money for Warner Brothers it wants to make. And no matter what you say, what you do, this multiverse strategy, this James Gunn kind of era that we're looking forward to now with DC as well. I hope he makes more Suicide Squad, more Peacemaker, and I really want him to make a Green Lantern trilogy, and I want him to cast Robert Downey Jr. as an older Hal Jordan, with a younger with a younger John Stewart, should I say. So the future is bright, the future is Hamada, the future is Sarnoff, whether you like it or not. This is what they're doing, and nothing you say and do about box offices or bad CG, they're saying that TDK, when his arms come apart, is bad CGI. It's not bad CGI just because you say it's bad CGI. You can carry on, but this course is not going to change, whether you like it or not. So let's talk about Doctor Who on Monday's Movies TV Mad Daily. So yesterday, many TV shows and films were at Comic-Con at home. Now, Comic-Con at home and Comic-Con is not the thing it used to be because we got DC Fandom. That's bigger than this, but if you're a fan of these shows, and I'm a big fan of Doctor Who, it was really exciting. So what did we learn? We are going to have a recurring companion who used to be in Game of Thrones, played by a guy from Game of Thrones. He will have his own spaceship, very exciting. I can tell you that this actor has replaced John Barrowman. This character is younger, but very much like Captain Jack Harkness. So expect him to have that kind of personality. But apparently he's a really good character and I can't wait to see him. Of course, we've got Dan as well. Dan will be a full-time character. I think he's gay. I think he's got a boyfriend. The boyfriend won't be part of this new TARDIS fam team. So he's going to be kind of the comedy element. He's very clumsy. He falls down and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to that. He's played by a comedian as well, which really will help matters. And Chris Chibnall told us that the whole of season 13 will be about one story. Now, I'm a bit confused about this. Is it one story in terms of Bad Wolf or Torchwood from early Doctor Who revival seasons? I don't think so, because Chris is saying they've never done this before in the modern era. So it looks like we're going back to what they used to do with Classic Who, where they used to have a continued story going through 6 episodes, 2 episodes, 4 episodes, and he's doing this across a whole season. Does this mean that Series 13 will be in the same place, or will the TARDIS and the fan be moving from place to place? It's not that easy to tell. Now, we see the characters in the cast standing on the symbol, the crest of Rassilon. So it looks like we will be spending some time on Gallifrey again, which is very exciting. Expect Sacha Dhawan's Master to return. He's an interesting version of the Master because he actually shouldn't be. He's a brilliant version of the Master. So is this a multiversal version of the Master? We know that Missy died. We know that John Sims' Master was stabbed by Missy and he was dying as he went down that shaft. So did he die? Did he have time to regenerate? We don't know. So he could be from another Earth, meaning that, and if we talk about this Timeless Child storyline, this controversial one that people don't like, I personally am not judging it until I've seen the whole thing. I found it very intriguing and quite well executed, but a lot of people didn't like it because they feel it breaks the canon of Doctor Who, which it does. I don't mind canon being broken if it improves the story. Now we know partially why he did this. He did this to show different minorities playing the Doctor, females playing the Doctor as well as males, because the reputation of Doctor Who going back to the 60s is that Doctor Who never treated women very well. I think there was some really good, well-displayed female companions like Sarah Jane and Ace. I don't think they were done badly, but so he's done that. But despite that, in this story, it's a good little story arc, because what they're saying is the Doctor was a child from a different planet, Tecteun found the Doctor and took her ability to regenerate. Now, she didn't lose that ability to regenerate, but she used that ability to create the Time Lords. The Doctor is the very reason, if you believe what you're seeing at the end of season 12, why the Time Lords were formed. They stole what she had. So it's very interesting. You could look at this as kind of the slaves, the black slaves of America, and what happened to them and how they were used for work and treated cruelly. So there is a lot of identity politics here in this story, but I still think it's an interesting story. But it doesn't mean that the Doctor actually is the timeless child. The Matrix could have been corrupted by the Master or the Time Lords themselves. The timeless child could be totally somebody else. It could be this recurring companion. It could be the Master himself. But even if it is the Doctor, if it's done in such a way that I like, I won't just trash it. So I think it's important to follow through this storyline before we lose our shit. Unfortunately, the culture we live in today, that's not going to happen. But I will continue to watch Doctor Who. I would say that season 11 was very, very kind of William Hartnell type of Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who, more slower, telling standalone stories, explorations. I thought it was solid enough and the production values were beautiful. Season 12 was definitely in pacing a much improvement. The standalone episodes weren't my favourite thing about it, but the arc, the Timeless Child arc, was done so well and I really enjoyed it, and there were some great episodes. So I like this idea. If this is the idea, to have one story kind of echoing through one season and it just being about this one story, this is going to be very, very interesting. Doctor Who returns, Doctor Who Series 13 returns October, November on BBC One and the BBC iPlayer. And if you live abroad like me, you will be able to buy each episode from that series as soon as it airs. So what you can do is you can go on Prime Video after the first episode airs. You can buy the entire season. So every week after it's been on the BBC, probably on a Sunday, you'll get that new episode. That's what I normally do because I don't want to miss it. I'm still a Doctor Who fan. This is not my favourite era by a long shot, but I still think it has some interesting nuances to it, and I'm going to keep on enjoying it. Now, I think Murray Gold did the best. I think Murray Gold's one of the best composers in the world, and they shouldn't have got rid of him, but they did. And I think the music improved for me in season 12 as well. But anyway, it's Doctor Who. We continue to support it. I'm excited about what we've been told, and we can only wait and see. We did get a little trailer, and it was, I wouldn't even call it a trailer, but there were some interesting moments. It seems the Doctor's keeping stuff from Yaz. Yaz and the Doctor, before they meet their two new companions, one of them a recurring one with his own ship, as I've already said, have been travelling alone for quite some time. So that's going to be interesting for Yaz. She's got time travelling experience now. All of a sudden, these gate crashes come in. I think this is going to be hard for Yaz because she does have a crush on the Doctor. Will they elevate that storyline? Will we ever see that anything happen between them? I doubt it, but you never know. But that's Doctor Who coming back later this year, and I'm very excited for it. Right, this is your Flash movie update. Some interesting updates, and I'm very excited. Breaking, Andrew Lockley has joined John DJ Desjardins, BVS Snyder Cut, Guardians of the Galaxy, and will be a VFX supervisor for the Flash movie. So this is Andrew Lockley. He is known for Interstellar, Inception and Tenet, and has won 3 Academy Awards. So this is huge. We already had DJ Desjardins, but now we have Andrew Lockley, who, as the Flash Film News on Twitter has said, and you need to follow them because they give great updates, Andrew Lockley, who's done Interstellar, Inception and Tenet, is joining as a VFX supervisor too. Now, I thought this film would have finished production ages ago. We started in April, May, June, July. It's been nearly 3 months. It looks like the shoot is going to go quite a while longer. This is a big movie with so much in it. It's a long movie as well, I can officially tell you that. So I think we could have another month and a half, maybe 2 months of shooting, as I can confirm here. So let's have a look. There's more news here somewhere. Right, update. The Flash is set to film in Glasgow shortly. After Indiana Jones 5 wraps production, filming will commence around August in George Square. It's rumoured Ben Affleck will be on set, so that's exciting. First reported by Glasgow Times, crews are already at George Square prepping the location for the Flash movie. Stay tuned for more. And there's more photos are pouring in from Glasgow. Thank you. So these are the photos. If you can see them, they're the photos. So they're prepping up, which is very exciting. Update, we thought the filming would start sometime in early August. It has come to our attention from 2 sources. Cameras will be rolling as soon as this week, possibly tomorrow. Stay tuned. This was posted yesterday, so very exciting. Gotham City buses spotted in Glasgow. It seems Glasgow will transform into the Gotham City for the Flash movie. But the question is, which Gotham City? So that's very exciting as well. So wow. We're hearing the Glasgow shoot for the Flash next week could be a chase scene. Could have some Batmobile set photos on the way. Wow. Can't wait to show you them if they come onto Twitter. Brilliant. So that's very, very exciting, isn't it? So the Flash movie is taking shape. Again, the Snyder acolytes can't help themselves. They're so bitter and twisted. They're saying that Ben Affleck has been forced to do the Flash movie. You can say what you want. You can do what you want. Ben Affleck's Batman will be in this movie, and they're already saying he gets killed in the first act. We will have to wait and see for that. Whatever happens, happens. I think he's got a big future within the DCEU. I could be wrong. You could be recording this bit to have receipts on me, and that's fine. Now let's go back to the news that Michael B. Jordan will be producing and should be starring and directing in a Val Zod Superman limited series for HBO Max. Now in the comics, Val Zod is set in Earth 2. Now Matt Reeves, the Batman universe, is also Earth 2. Could it be that this Superman is part of that Earth? We'll have to wait and see. But I was just thinking about that the other day. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of my theory. I'm very disappointed to hear that Matt Ryan's Constantine won't be a part of the new season of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. He will come back to play a Doctor full-time in the next season. I think this is obviously something to do with J.J. Abrams' Justice League Dark Universe and the Constantine show he's doing over there. But this is very disappointing because this is the multiverse, JJ. There's no need to take this character away. This is a bit toxic. Why can't we have a white Constantine and your black Constantine? What's the big deal here? That's actually very, very toxic of you, JJ, if this is the reason why Matt's Constantine has been removed. So I'm very, very disappointed about that. Now, obviously, Dexter Series 9 was at Comic-Con at home, and we have lots of updates for you about that. So if you're a Dexter fan, please stay on this video. I know some of you will go because you're not Dexter fans, but I love Michael C. Hall and I love Dexter. How he's able to play this character as this, you know, this guy with murderous urges, who uses these urges to kill other people that kill, but also there's so much humanity within the character. It's one of the best performances from an actor I've ever seen. Dexter Season 9, officially titled New Blood, interesting title, releases in November. At long last, Showtime's eagerly anticipated Dexter Season 9 has an early November premiere date and official title New Blood by Rachel Abernathy of Screen Rant. The eagerly anticipated Dexter revival is officially titled New Blood, and it will arrive on Showtime in November during Dexter's original 8-season run. Fans following the titular forensic technician played by Michael C. Hall, who moonlights as a serial killer with breathless anticipation as they waited to see just what he would do next. There was a lot of speculation about how Dexter's story would end, but the final result failed to win over audiences. Hall even agrees the Season 8 finale was less than stellar, which is why there are so many expectations surrounding the surprise Season 9. The Dexter revival was first announced last fall, once again starring Hall in the lead role. Season 9 will also bring back original showrunner Clyde Phillips, which is brilliant news. For its 10-episode run, the series will pick up with Dexter years after the finale, which saw him fake his own death and retreat into the wilderness to live as a lumberjack. Dexter will welcome newcomers like Clancy Brown, Julia Jones and Jamie Chung, but it will also feature some familiar faces like John Lithgow's Trinity Killer via flashback naturally. Following Sunday's Comic-Con at Home panel for Dexter, Showtime revealed Season 9 will officially be titled Dexter: New Blood. Additionally, it will premiere on Sunday, November the 7th on Showtime. I have no idea how I'm going to see this, to be honest with you, but I'm desperate to. The news arrived after the official reveal of the Dexter trailer, which gave an idea of what Hall's anti-hero is up to when Season 9 begins. November is still several months away, but no one can say the full season isn't the perfect time for Dexter: New Blood to premiere. Not only did the trailer adopt a chillier visual scheme, the mere concept of a story revolving around a serial killer fits the traditional darker end of the year. With 10 episodes in its season, Dexter: New Blood will come to an end in early 2022, so viewers should expect to spend the holidays with him as well. The title New Blood seems to hold a few meanings for Season 9. In the literal sense, it confirms what many have suspected, that the more blood will be spilled. Even though Dexter has attempted to cast aside his dark passenger, in reality New Blood can also represent the way newcomers are joining the Dexter world. While there are some members of the original cast returning, the first looks at Season 9 have focused more on the new characters. Jones' Angela looks to play a pivotal role in Dexter's life. Brown's Kurt Caldwell will be the primary villain. It's a new era for Dexter, and it'll be exciting to see where it goes. New Blood could also be talking about Harrison, Dexter's son. Now, I don't know how many years in the future we are here. Could he be a teenager now? I don't know. Could he still be a preteen? I don't know. But he could be the one who follows in his father's footsteps. I'm not sure what this means. Maybe they could do flash forwards to Harrison's role as a serial killer in the future. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see, but it's very, very exciting. Dexter Season 9 showrunner confirms return of original cast members. Dexter showrunner confirms Season 9 will bring back multiple original cast members, with John Lithgow and Jennifer Carpenter confirmed so far by Cooper Hood of Screen Rant. According to its showrunner, multiple original cast members will return for Dexter Season 9, with John Lithgow and Jennifer Carpenter currently confirmed. Showtime serial killer drama starring Michael C. Hall as Dexter is returning nearly 8 years after one of TV's most divisive finales. It wasn't that divisive. I didn't mind it, actually, by the way. I know. The reception to Dexter's finale and its final few seasons overall diminished the reputation of the show that previously was considered one of the best on television. Yet, I think the show went downhill from the moment they killed Rita. The show lost its balance. They kept on giving him love interests. It simply didn't work. The season with Julia Stiles as Lumen, I thought that was a terrible season with a terrible overarching villain as well, played brilliantly by Johnny Lee Miller, but it simply didn't work. Once Dexter Season 9 was officially announced in 2020 with Michael C. Hall returning to star, fans of the series began to wonder exactly what it would contain. The show has moved locations from the sunny beaches of Florida to a chilly small town in New York, and that only raised more questions about how Dexter Season 9 will connect to and retcon what happened before. When the revival was announced, Hall was the only original cast member confirmed to return, alongside original showrunner Clyde Phillips. During Comic-Con at Home 2021, Showtime hosted a virtual panel for Dexter Season 9. It featured Hall, Phillips, executive producer Scott Reynolds, director Marcus Sager, and new cast member Julia Jones. They fielded many questions throughout the panel, but near the end, Phillips was asked about the possibility of other original cast members returning for Dexter Season 9. He only said, "Obviously, I have to be a little bit coy about this, but I will say there will be some returning cast members from the original series that will make some people's brains explode." After this happened, the official Dexter on Showtime Twitter account confirmed the returns of John Lithgow as Trinity and Jennifer Carpenter as Deb, even though Phillips didn't say either of them by name. So he could be talking about these two that we already know about. Deb confirmed, Trinity confirmed. Who's next? That means there's more to come. That is interesting. Should I follow this? I think I should follow this, definitely. Got to follow this account, haven't I? Right, come on. Just waiting for it to load up. Sorry about this, but I've got to follow this so I know what's going on, and then I can let you know what's going on. So, let's go back to Screen Rant. Where are we? And now I have to scroll to where I was. Right, here we are. And The returns of Lithgow and Carpenter were previously reported in the lead up to Dexter Season 9's virtual panel. Lithgow's Trinity was one of Dexter's greatest villains prior to his demise, so it will be interesting to see how he returns for this new story. Meanwhile, Carpenter's death was a massive part of Dexter, so it shouldn't be a surprise that she's back, although she died. Especially as Season 9 attempts to course correct the show's ending. Deb's love for Dexter and eventual death were two moments among many that didn't sit well with the viewers. I didn't mind her dying, to be honest with you. Again, I don't know why people lost their shit about that. With the tease that Dexter Season 9 will feature more returning original cast members than just Hull, Lithgow and Carpenter, it will be interesting to see who else comes back, and how Phillips teased the primary every person they reached out to about coming back was immediately on board. There are plenty of fans who especially want to see Yvonne Stravinsky. I don't want to see her return as Hannah. She was another contrived love interest that I didn't like. I like Yvonne as a performer, but no. So she could be one of other returning cast members. Julie Benz would be the one I'd want to see as Rita, because from her exit, the show was in trouble. Even said she'd want to return as Rita. Thankfully, Dexter Season 9 begins airing later this year, so it won't be long before more is revealed. Very exciting. And there's lots more news on Dexter, so if you're interested, stay tuned. Dexter Season 9 star admits fan disappointment was a huge part of the revival. Isn't it interesting that we get so many creatives and actors, people like Kevin Smith, who just dismiss people's complaints, but Michael was actually on board with what people were saying and decided to bring it back. Now, it's taken a lot of years, but he's done it. He's the one who brought in original showrunner Clyde Phillips and the original people to do this, to finish this off in the right way. If this is actually the end, we'll have to wait and see. In the wake of the highly awaited return of Dexter New Blood, Michael C. Hall shares that the fan reaction to the series finale inspired the revival by Christopher T. Sang of Screen Rant. Michael C. Hall admits that the fan disappointment to the Dexter series finale in 2013 played a part in the anticipated revival. Hall played the titular character Dexter Morgan for 8 seasons and is returning to reprise the character in a much-awaited limited series titled Dexter New Blood that will feature 10 episodes. Clyde Phillips has been brought back as the showrunner after departing the original series at the end of Season 4, and the reboot will take, it's not a reboot, here we go again, they're obsessed with reboots, will take place 10 years after the events of the finale. That's not a reboot, which saw Dexter living in Oregon as a lumberjack. In the revival, Dexter will be residing in a new area of Iron Lake in upstate New York, and will be operating under a different name while interacting with a whole new group of people. There have already been a slew of new cast members confirmed for Dexter New Blood, including Clancy Brown, Julia Jones and Jamie Chung, will return from Jennifer Carpenter, who portrayed Dexter's sister Deborah, and John Lithgow, who played the Trinity Killer on Season 4. The multiple teasers, including an extended Dexter Season 9 sneak peek recently released, show hints of Dexter's dark passenger re-emerging and have given viewers a promising glimpse of what will come of the revival. Hall recently attended a panel discussing at the virtual Comic-Con International to talk about the upcoming 9th season of Dexter. The panel features several reveals about the upcoming limited series, but Hall also acknowledged that the fan frustration to the series finale was vital to the creation of Dexter New Blood. When talking about the finale, Hall goes on to comment, "It was a huge part of it. I think the ending was mystifying at best to people, confounding, exasperating, frustrating, on down the line of negative adjectives. I think this is a show that's very important to all of us, and the chance to revisit it is important to me, and maybe in the process redefine the sense of the show's ending and the sense of the show's legacy more broadly was certainly a part of our motivation, no doubt." He's just a great human being, you know. I remember when Michael was in the middle of his run and he had cancer, and I remember him turning up to the Emmys. He's just such a great guy, so talented. I've got a lot of time for Michael C. Hall. He's one of my favourite actors. For all of Phillips' tenure, Dexter was considered quality television, yet for viewers and critics. When it was announced that Phillips would leave the show, the series was at its high point with a shocking Season 4 finale. That had Dexter coming home to find his wife Rita murdered by the Trinity Killer in their bathtub, while their son Harrison is crying in a pool of blood. Amazing. Reminiscent to Dexter's own early childhood, since then many have argued that the show had a slow downfall despite having some peak moments culminating in a conclusion that was considered almost universally despised. Yet, ever since Clyde left, which was at the end of season 4, this show lost its quality. It was still okay, Michael was still great, but it simply wasn't on the level that Clyde Phillips and Michael C. Hall had it in for the first 4 seasons. And that's a desperate shame. And hopefully this limited series, and hopefully we can get more, can do something to fix that. Despite the negative reviews, Hall has received constant acclaim for his portrayal of the anti-hero, yet receiving many accolades for playing Dexter, and that will likely continue in the reboot. With the return of the original creative team, there's hope the revival can bring back Dexter's best qualities that made it so entertaining during its early seasons. Given that the anticipation for Dexter New Blood has been overwhelmingly eagerly, hopefully the reaction to this final finale will be more positive than the one in 2013. I'm very interested to see if we get more. Hopefully, if people tune into this, we may get more, because I think Dexter's a character that we need. Dexter is a hero with mental illness. He fights that mental illness every day. Instead of killing innocent people, he kills serial killers that put people's lives in danger. Whether you agree with that what he does, this is a man with so many issues, but ultimately deep inside, he's a good person who fights to keep his dark passenger at bay. And that's a great story and a great lesson to all of us. I think there's one more article, and there is. So let's see what they say about this. Dexter Season 9 showrunner explains how much the pandemic affected the story. Clyde Phillips, who was the showrunner and writer on Dexter Seasons 1 to 4, reveals how much the pandemic affected the storyline of Dexter Season 9 by Christopher Fiducier of Screen Rant. Dexter showrunner Clyde Phillips reveals how much of Season 9 had to be changed due to the pandemic after 8 years. Dexter is finally returning for a limited series that picks up 10 years. 10 years. So how old would that make Harrison? Harrison was a baby. He was about, what, 3? Maybe 13 years old now? Interesting. So the New Blood thing could definitely have something to do with Dexter's son, Harrison. So where are we? Dexter is finally returning for a limited series that picks up 10 years after the original series finale. The end of Season 8 saw Dexter send Harrison and Hannah to Argentina before driving his boat into a hurricane with Deb's dead body. The final scene of the series showed Michael C. Hall's character living in Oregon as a lumberjack, which has turned into one of TV's most hated finales. You better check out the season finale of Game of Thrones. While many were relieved when the Dexter revival was announced, it came as a bit of a surprise last October. Yet, since then, Showtime has done a good job of hyping up the serial killer's return with a handful of teasers showing Dexter's new life in upstate New York. Even though Hall has been open about the finale's criticism, Phillip has previously confirmed that the limited series won't completely retcon Dexter Season's 8 ending. Instead, Dexter Season 9 introduces a new set of characters, including Clancy Brown as the villain Kurt Caldwell and Julia Jones, who plays Dexter's chief of police girlfriend. Season 9's story is drastically different than Dexter's day as a blood splatter analyst in Miami, and some have wondered if the pandemic had any effect in the revival story. During Comic-Con International Dexter panel, Phillips stated that the pandemic didn't drastically change any story details in Dexter Season 9. Like most productions, the cast and crew on Dexter took precautions, including being socially distant and having everyone except the actors wearing masks. While filming was a little different from past seasons, Phillips said the pandemic only affected scenes involving large crowds. The showrunner's full comment can be read below. It's impacted the script only slightly. I think it might have impacted the directors a little bit, because sometimes when we want to do a scene with 2 cameras, that puts too many people in a room, and we can't do that. And that slows things down or makes it more difficult for the directors. And also there were some crowd scenes that we had to rewrite. For instance, there was a big Christmas church scene that we had to rewrite because we couldn't put that many people in the same room at the same time. And a couple of other scenes that will emerge as people watch the show. But for the most part, we've been diligent and fortunate and relatively unimpacted because we've been so careful. And you know what? All these shows and movies now, they don't even look like they're filmed in COVID conditions, which is great. I know it's challenging to the people making it, and I appreciate that. But our gig and our responsibility is to see something awesome despite the pandemic. The biggest thing to come out of the panel was the long-awaited Dexter Season 9 trailer. It was also confirmed that the revival is titled Dexter New Blood, which hints at Dexter reverting to his murderous roots. Prior to the panel, Jennifer Carpenter was confirmed to return as Deborah Morgan and John Lithgow as the Trinity Killer. But unsurprisingly, neither was shown in the trailer. From Phillips' comments about the story and the marketing material that has been released thus far, it's clear that Showtime is trying to craft a fresh story that will hopefully fix Season's 8 ending. Rather than changing crucial story details, a lot of studios opted just to delay production and release dates for their movies and TV shows. Since Dexter Season 9 wasn't announced until October, there weren't any updates on production being delayed throughout 2020. It's possible Showtime was planning to confirm Dexter Season 9 before October, but decided to delay the reveal because of the pandemic. Regardless, it is a relief that Dexter's cast and crew were careful enough to set that they didn't run into any hiccups, and that would have negatively impacted the show's story. As interesting as this article is, I can't remember who did it, but at the end of the day, they're proficient now in dealing in COVID. Everything's done, they all social distance, right? The actors do have to stand close to each other, but they have been, they've been isolating for 2 weeks, been tested, there's no issue, they're protected, they're in a hotel room, no one can infect them, so be assured of that. Now finally today, I want to talk about the MCU and Black Widow, and I've mentioned this in my review and my reaction to the film. Now I really liked the first act. The problem with Black Widow is it needed a trilogy, an R-rated trilogy, and let me tell you which character needed this desperately. No, it wasn't Natasha Romanoff, it was Taskmaster herself. You're telling me that this gangster, after his daughter kind of was damaged in the explosion, he puts her in the Taskmaster costume. I don't have a problem with this. My problem is, it's hard for me as a consumer and an audience member to have any kind of relatability to her story and her struggle. But if you do this as a trilogy, it's very interesting. In fact, you could start the film at that moment of that explosion should I say, and you see the damage she's had. We could have seen her journey before she becomes Taskmaster. And I actually think there's another thing you could have done with this apart from a trilogy. Make it a Disney Plus original MCU series, then you've got so much more time to do this. Do it from that explosion. Show us what happens to Taskmaster. Then you can do everything else you did as well. By doing that, we not only see Natasha's struggles, and I think we should have seen flashbacks of her in the Red Room as well, which they didn't do. So there would have been so much more you could have done in a trilogy, but there's even so much more you could have done in a Disney Plus original MCU show. That's what Black Widow could have been, and it would have had so much nuance. But the MCU isn't interested in nuance. I've only seen nuance a couple of times in the MCU. They seemed very interesting in nuance when they were doing Captain America. The first movie has a lot of nuance. Winter Soldier has great nuance. Infinity War, the backstory of Thanos, has loads of kind of depth in it, doesn't it? And I forgot her name now, but I can't remember her bloody name. But the character that's Thanos' daughter, there's lots of nuance there. But most of their movies don't have nuance, and this is the problem with the MCU. There's very little effort. There used to be an effort, but now it's just a factory that puts chapter after chapter out. And I think that's my issue with the MCU. I think very different with DC and WB, what they're attempting to do with their multiverse strategy. There will be a lot more nuance. There'll be lots of individual stories that can kind of link up to other Earths and really tell big stories. And I'm very excited to see what they do. Remember everyone, love what you love and don't worry about what you hate, because something that you hate is loved by somebody else. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter @MoviesTVMad, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye for now.